Welcome. Today I want to dive into what it means to ignite your inner flame. This idea that helps to empower you to, reignite curiosity and passion and purpose in your life. So stick around because I want to share these 7 practical steps that are really grounded in Spark method, as I like to call it, to help you to transition from merely existing to living with extraordinary intention and impact. Now, these are strategies that I would give you if you were one of my one-on-one clients here in my office and I was coaching you, and they're designed to help you to just wake up and get out of the rut and the mundane and or stagnation that you may be feeling or that you've been living, and start you on that path towards extraordinary living. Now, I want you to think about these questions and see if any of them resonate with you or how they show up for you. Have you ever, caught yourself, just staring at your own life story and looking at yourself in the mirror and wondering, is this all that there is? What if that nagging feeling is a sense that you're meant for something more? Isn't just wishful thinking, but it is actually this inner flame that's trying to wake you up and get you to do something. And then think about this, because I hope that it sparks, and I use that word spark intentionally, that it sparks something for you. What becomes possible when you just stop existing on this autopilot and you start living with intention and purpose? Now, if you've ever felt stuck in routine or disconnected from potential or wondered if there's more to life than just this ordinary thing, then you're in the right place, because we're going to dive into these and really help to unpack it for you. Now, my name is Jake Talbert. I'm the founder and I'm the author of this book. It's called The Giver Method. I'll include a link down in the description to the Amazon page where you can get it. You can get it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, a bunch of other places if you are overseas, where you can get access to it. So go find it, The Giver Method. I'll have the link to the Amazon one though. It's an Amazon bestseller. It's been out for 2 months, and it's already changing hundreds and thousands of lives by people who are going through that method and implementing it so that they could really start to change themselves, but also change the lives around them through generosity, through discovering gifts and superpowers, making more impact and living a more fulfilled life. Now, when we talk about spark, this is the idea of the concept that happens before that. You may not be I want to go make that bigger impact in the world. You're look, I just want to get out of the day-to-day grind. I just want to get out of this, ordinariness that I have. I want to, I don't even know what the impact I could make or what the fulfillment is that I'm desiring, but I just know that it's not where I'm at now. And so I want to share with you these practical principles that, they're rooted in the Spark framework and also the Giver method. And so stick around, because I really do want to make sure that we can help you to find that passion, that purpose, and really start to do and move things forward. Now, if you know someone else that as you're watching this, you're oh my gosh, they could use this, then I highly recommend that you take the time to share it with them at the end, or maybe get them a copy of the book as a part of this. Now, if you are new here, don't forget to hit subscribe, ring that bell for notifications so that you don't miss out on any of the content we have on unleashing your gifts or creating more meaningful impact. There's all sorts of videos on the channel that you can go and check those things out. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, or thegivermethod.com. I'll include all those links in the description as well, so you can go check out all those places, get on the newsletter list, join our Impact Maker community, things like that. Now I'm going to cover each topic, give you a little bit of action item to do that you can go implement right away, so you can really start to find these things that are moving you forward. I recommend that you stick around through all 7 of these, because they will transform your life and your way of thinking. And even if you're a rather motivated person, there's probably something else you can learn here if you look at it through a new lens. Now, I want to start by distinguishing, I talk about ordinary and extraordinary, and people are well, yeah, there's the extraordinary life. You're no, let's talk about what that is. Ordinary living feels repetitive and uninspired, you're just moving through life on that autopilot, where extraordinary living, gosh, it is intentional, it is vibrant and exciting, and you are looking forward to the interactions you have. It's about aligning your actions with your values and purpose, and when you engage in a sort of way, you engage deeply with the world and everyone around you, and you create these deeper relationships and you experience new things that bring more fulfillment. I promise you, it's a massive difference between the two, and it is achievable. The difference lies in the choices that you make and your willingness to really ignite that flame within you. So if you're ready to take those first steps of, leading a more meaningful life, then stick around. Let's dive in. The first principle is what we kind of just started to tee up there, which is we need to start shifting your perspective from where you are to where you want to be. It's a really important transformation step towards extraordinary living, because it helps to start to reshape how you interpret the things that are coming to you, the information, the data, the challenges, opportunities, or potential that's there. Often the stories we tell ourselves are rooted in our past experiences, but it could be fear, it could be failure. These narratives, like they become barriers of growth that we've all experienced. I've been there personally, and it's amazing how shifting your perspective, it starts to invite this reframe, of these thoughts. Things that I thought was difficult or roadblocks, they're not. They're actually stepping stones that can move you forward. It's about moving from what they often refer to as a fixed mindset, where any of your abilities or your circumstances, like they're just static and they are what they are and I deal with it, to that growth mindset where you believe that you have the capacity to grow and adapt, to learn, to thrive. Like it really does shift and open doors to all sorts of possibilities that, maybe once you seem out of reach, it maybe seem out of reach right now, but when you create this foundation, it really does start to push you towards that personal change for yourself. It shifts that perspective. Like if you want to do that, you have to first become aware of the inner dialogue. What's the thing that is shaping your beliefs? And you may not think of yourself as like a negative talker or anything to yourself, but like that negative self-talk, it's there, it's ingrained in us, and it feels like unquestionable truth of who we are. And when you start to look at that dialogue with maybe more curiosity rather than judgment, you can look for the patterns that just no longer serve you. I've had this plenty of times where I start to review timelines of my life and when I felt certain ways. What were my positives? What were my negatives? And looking for those ways, like, well, how did my beliefs be set or adapted based off of that? When you question beliefs and start to intentionally reframe them, now you're giving permission to, imagine what were the new outcomes that could have happened. And then you just start to embrace that, and you look at it as ways you could have grown and what's the growth possible if you were to do that different moving forward. Maybe you need to keep a journal where you document, any negative thoughts you have throughout the day, or beliefs that start to arise that you're feel like might be holding you back. And each one, write a counter statement that just reframes it in a more empowering light. Even if you have to tell yourself the story that you maybe don't believe yet, by just writing it and saying it and using even visualization exercises, you can shift that perspective. You can spend a few days just imagining yourself successful, navigating a situation, where you no longer have fear or doubt. Focus on all the details, like how does it feel? What do you see? Is confidence excluded? Pushed out? I can't think of the word. Another thing is to immerse yourself. Look for the stories of others who maybe have overcome those types of challenges or experienced those things. There's all sorts of biographies or interviews online where people overcame challenges and achieved these extraordinary things. And the thing I want you to note is that as you look for the ones that resonate with you in your own journey and how their mindset maybe could play a role in your own success, notice that it wasn't overnight changes. It wasn't like they went from feeling a certain way to the thing. Like it wasn't like a light switch turned on. Like it was like they had to slowly turn one valve off and the other one on to really get there. And so this week you could identify what's maybe one belief that you start to see and find as a limiting belief for you, and intentionally start to work to reframe it. Look for those mindfulness practices, whether it's, being more present and looking for the ways to avoid falling back into those old thought patterns. When you encounter any sort of challenges, just remind yourself, like, what can I learn from this? How might this experience help me grow? How could I use it to serve others? When you shift your perspective this way, it lays out this groundwork for every other principle that we're going to talk about. And, or if you're ever looking for personal growth or to look and make an impact, like this is going to be the perspective that impacts it the most. Without that sort of a mental flexibility, you're going to remain where you are. You're going to have those anchored self limitations and beliefs that prevent you from stepping into your full potential. And when you learn to start to see those possibilities instead of barriers, you really do start to, build yourself up and empower yourself to take action with courage and curiosity, and, build that resilience that enables you to bounce back from setbacks with more clarity, and more resolve to move forward. When you change your perspective, you can also influence others in your life. Growth mindset is contagious, and others will start to feed off of that. And you shift this perspective, you're not just in your own personal transformation, it's that commitment to see the world and your role in it through a lens of possibility and growth. Now, our second one is that you have to take that idea and now ponder, what's my purpose? What's the most impactful steps towards living a life of meaning and fulfillment? Like, what can I do to get there? Like, purpose acts as a compass that just guides your decisions. It helps you stay grounded in the efforts that truly matter to you the most. And without it, I've seen that it's easy to feel as though like you're just wandering through life, completing tasks without any sense of direction. And so when you connect with a purpose, though, like, it breathes life into those actions. It transforms those ordinary moments into these meaningful milestones, even if you don't realize that they end up being meaningful, because when you take the moment and reflect on them, you'll notice those things. It's not confined to any sort of a grand gesture or these world-changing missions. It is like, it's personal, it's deeply personal, and can really, show in the simple and most profound ways of your life, like supporting loved ones or creating something beautiful or contributing to a cause that resonates with you. Like, discover your purpose. Like, when you do that, it just involves intentional reflection and exploration. It begins by asking big questions like, what does bring me joy? What impact do I want to have? And, what do I value most? I was sitting down with someone this last week, and I asked the question, like, hey, what's good in your world? And they gave initial answer. And I said, okay, well, but that's just really surface. Like, what else? Not much. And I was like, there has to be more. There has to be more there that brings you joy, that you're looking forward to, that brings you. And if not, then you need to do the work to go find that. You want to encourage yourself to look beyond your day-to-day routines into, like, the core of what makes you actually feel alive. Your purpose isn't about what anyone else expects of you. It's about making sure that you're aligned with your values and your passions and the gifts and superpowers that you have. And when you take the time to reflect, you're going to uncover what those interweaving threads that connect to your past experiences that give you this deeper sense of meaning. And so you have to set aside the time each day, maybe it's each day this week, to reflect on those moments where you felt the most fulfilled and the most alive and what excited you. Write them down if you need to. Pay close attention to where they intersect, where they're common, what's the same between all of them. Were they tied to specific things like helping others or creating something or solving a problem? Like, when you identify the patterns, you then create a map that you can use that connects your passions, your strengths, to maybe the needs that you could observe day to day as you move throughout the world. Another thing you could do is you could, deepen your understanding of your purpose when you start to experiment with new activities. And we're going to talk a little bit later about the unknown, but, like, treat any experience as opportunities to test what feels meaningful and fulfilling. Like, over time, like, this will start to build up and will provide you this clarity, not only of what you're passionate about, but also, how you can turn things into, passions into action. Like, it starts to feel like it will be iterative. Like, each step brings you a little bit closer to more alignment that really fuels that extraordinary living and that sense of fulfillment. You connect your purpose, it really does change who you are, because it changes how you view your actions and your decisions. And when you're grounded in any sort of a purpose, no matter how small, or mundane a task could be, it takes on this greater significance that you can contribute to something so much bigger. Purpose should be a powerful motivator, giving you strength to persist through whatever challenge you have, to take a risk or, find things that align to your values. It creates that sense of belonging as you contribute to others, who have similar values or similar causes that they're, passionate about. Purpose has the ability to reignite any inner flame within you, and it provides the antidote for if you've experienced apathy or disconnection from things. It reminds you that, life holds meaning, and that your efforts have the potential to make a massive difference in other people, in your life and other people's lives. Now, the third one is, you need to have your Matrix experience where, Morpheus gives Neo the red pill and he wakes up to reality. You need to awaken to reality. This is a process about becoming fully present and aware that your life as it is, it's not, you have what there is today, and then there's what you could imagine and wish it could be. And you step out of that autopilot mode and, face your habits, your choices, your circumstances that you have with honesty and clarity. Many people move through their days just reacting to these external demands, disconnected from any true desires, or unaware how their actions can maybe align towards larger goals. And awakening means that you're, pausing and you're taking stock of what, where you want to be. Where am I now? Where do I want to be? And how do I want to get there? Like, what are the paths of possibly getting to where I want to be? It's not about judgment in any way or regret. It's really about creating that awareness and just taking ownership of your journey. I'll be the first person to say, I've made some stupid steps along the way. I've done some stupid things in my journey. The very last page of my book is an open apology letter to all the people that I've done stupid things to. Like, you're not going to avoid it. That's just who we are. But you have to look at it without judgment. we want it to be rooted in an awareness that allows you to have meaningful change. Like when you become conscious of how you spend your time, your energy, your focus, you can then identify patterns that either support or hinder growth for you. And awareness extends beyond personal habits. It includes that broader context of like your environment and your relationships, what brings you those energy. Like it involves recognizing the ways daily actions will contribute to or detract from your vision, your purpose of life, your energy, and how you want to move throughout that world. Awakening, like it's that gateway to living with intention and taking control of your path forward. You awaken to reality. You begin to just conduct your like self audit, like of your own time and energy, and track how am I spending my time? What are the things that energize me? What are the ones that drain me? And reflect on how these align with your values or goals. Like, are you investing time in the activities that nurture growth in relationships, or are you caught up in those routines that just feel unproductive and unfulfilling? Spend 10-15 minutes a day of meditation or journaling or walking out in nature, and take the time to just ask yourself and reflect on the meaningful questions like, what does matter to me, and am I living in alignment with what my priorities are? And then just focus on small but intentional changes. It doesn't have to be anything big or grand. What's that one area of your life where there's a gap between the current state, your current habits, and your desired reality? And then take the actions, as small as they may need to be, but they will serve as that powerful reminder of your ability to just start aligning your life with your values. Over time, that starts to build more confidence as you move forward to it. It's important because it empowers you to take control of your life. Like without any sort of this awareness and awakening to reality, it's easy to just drift through your day reacting to what happens in the circumstances rather than, I want to shape my life into opportunities. And when you become conscious of your habits, your environment, your choices, like now you identify those opportunities for growth in the areas that maybe need the adjustment. Helps you to prioritize what matters to you and create that sense of purpose and direction. It also enables you to just let me let go of the distractions or the commitments that just don't serve me, so I can free up my space for the things that I actually care the most about. When you take the time to awaken in this sort of way, you're creating that resilience and adaptability. When you're fully aware of where you are today in that state, you look at challenges differently with that clear mind and more of a proactive attitude. And you begin to see those obstacles as opportunities where I can learn rather than any sort of a setback. Ultimately, like awakening to reality lays that groundwork for life of intentionality, fulfillment, impact, and allows you to just create the future that reflects your true self and where you want to be authentically. Now, the fourth thing is kindling your passions. Like, how do we take those all together? So I'm going to take these last couple, and it's like these are all combining together where your passion's that heartbeat for extraordinary life. It's the force that keeps you engaged and resilient when the challenges come. So we talked about purpose. Passion's different than that. Passion isn't limited to any sort of a grand pursuit. Like, it's found in the simple activities, whether it's mentoring someone, creating a piece of art, or championing a cause. Like, it helps you to reignite a spark that often requires reflection and intentionality behind it. Like, many of us let passions just fade over time because we have life. I've got 3 kids, I'm married, I do stuff I run a company, I've written a book, I'm working on another book, I do stuff through church. Like, we get distracted and they disappear, but the good news is that they never go away. They're just waiting to be rediscovered. And you kindle those passions, you create that space for it in your life. You think back to those moments where you've been alive, like we talked about, and think about what it is that you're doing. And your passion thrives in action, not just waiting for inspiration to strike. So when you re-engage in activities you're passionate about, you're going to feel this renewed sense of purpose and connection. It isn't just the hobbies or leisure thing that is there. It's aligning my actions with the things that bring me the deepest sense of fulfillment. And so start by revisiting, like, what are the activities, causes, moments that bring you the most joy in the past, and write them down in that journal. Like, what were the experiences that left you feeling that way, and reflect on, which ones were the most significant. Was it because creativity was there? Was it connections being connected? Was it, that you saw your purpose being brought to life? Whatever those may be, and then dedicate time each week where you could reintroduce these activities into your life and treat them hopefully as more of commitments rather than optional, like, indulgences. You find the ways to kindle your passion by exploring something new and diving into what those are, taking a class, a workshop. Allow yourself the freedom to experiment without any sort of pressure of perfection, and then share your journey with others, because it can make such an amazing impact on them. This week, make a priority to identify, like, what's one passion I have that I need to either, like, ignite or reignite or just start all together? What is it? And schedule time where you can immerse yourself in an activity, even if it's for a short period of time on that. And then reflect on how it feels. Was it re-engaging to do something that lights you up in this sort of a way? Consider how do I make that a regular part of my week? Is there something daily or weekly that I could do? Is there a commitment or a long-term goal I could do that's going to help me to get there? And then think about how you can share that passion with others. Passion provides energy and motivation to pursue whatever goals you are looking to do, even as obstacles and challenges are going to arise. It builds that resilience to approach them with those challenges as with creativity and more determination to get through them. It creates that personal growth. It helps to deepen relationships and enhances your overall well-being. It has one of the most impactful ripple effects that could happen. Your energy becomes contagious. Becomes that environment that encourages growth and connection. And it reminds you that extraordinary living isn't just waiting for the perfect moment. It's about just choosing to engage with what matters most every single day so that you can be living extraordinary. Now, the fifth one is reclaim your joy, and you do that through play. Like, play isn't just for children. It's that powerful tool that rejuvenates us. Creativity, reconnection with your own authentic self. In a world that just prioritizes, any sort of productivity over joy, like, play really becomes this, radical act of self-care and growth. It allows you to step outside the constraints of a routine that you have and explore new ideas without fear or judgment. Experience life with a sense of wonder. Go play. Play taps into just this natural curiosity, and it encourages you to try new things, to explore, to spark whatever it is that you're looking to do, whether it's through artistic expression or physical movement, lighthearted game. Play has the ability to energize your spirit. You reclaim your joy through play. It's not just fun. It's not just about having the fun. It's about nurturing that inner child that we all have in us and discovering the passions that go with it so you can fuel your imagination. It invites you to embrace activities that make you just lose track of time. Hopefully it'll just laugh out loud and just feel completely immersed in what it is you're doing. And so identify those activities. Reflect on the hobbies or pastimes you did as a child that, they could hold those clues. Maybe you need to experiment with some new things, joining a class of some kind or outdoor adventure. What's the thing that sparks that curiosity? And then make sure you dedicate time, whether it's a daily thing, a weekly thing. At least weekly, you should have some sort of play baked into what it is that you're doing. You surround yourself with other people who encourage that lightheartedness and exploration. And then, naturally journal what you feel as you go through this. Over time, you're going to notice how play begins to shift your perspective and really infuse your life with this renewed energy. Commit to trying something, whatever it is, and then schedule time to intentionally do that. Afterwards, just reflect on how that felt and consider how can you make that a regular part of what you're doing. Challenge yourself to bring, any sort of element of play into your daily life. As you do so, you begin to, create this sense of lightness and resilience that really makes the most ordinary moments feel amazing. You reclaim joy of play. It's important because it just reconnects you with your true self and unlocks that, creative potential that you have inside of you. Play fosters adaptability. It encourages, you to think outside the box and to really embrace everything with more confidence. And of course, naturally, that then leads to 6, which I referenced to. You have to embrace the unknown. The unknown feels daunting because it challenges, the sense of control and predictability. And this is difficult for me because I want to have those things. Yet, it's precisely the unknown that seeds growth and transformation, as a part of that. Embracing the unknown means you're stepping into spaces where outcomes are uncertain. You're not worried about the perfection. Possibilities that could exist beyond what you see now and or could plan for. It's about shifting your views, from uncertainty as a threat into an invitation to discover these new things all around us. And when you dare to venture beyond your own comfort zone, you create opportunities and insights for new relationships, deeper relationships, new experiences. The unknown is, a canvas of possibilities waiting to be explored. And every great innovation, discovery, personal breakthrough, it starts with a willingness to just face something unfamiliar and go attack it. And just start small. It doesn't have to be big. Do the small, meaningful actions. What's the one thing outside of your routine that you could try? I'm a massive routine person, so that's hard for me to even say to go do. Journal your thoughts. Make sure you review those. And then look for the ways where you explore the unknown that feel exciting or intriguing even if it feels a little uncomfortable. It's not to achieve any sort of perfection, but just taking action and seeing where that could lead. And over time, it's going to help you to develop a sense of trust in yourself and a process of discovery. It becomes what really does build on that resilience and adaptability as a part of your life. When you embrace the unknown, you not only discover new opportunities, but you unlock that deeper layer of potential. When you do this, like, you model your life in adventure and growth and purpose. You remind yourself, and others, that extraordinary living begins where that certainty actually ends. And of course, 7, redefine your success. Like, traditionally, like what society says, like, it often revolves around external markers, whether it's wealth or status or accolades. Like, get rid of these metrics. Like, they're temporary satisfaction and rarely have any lasting fulfillment. Just redefine what success is inward and emphasize on your growth and your connections and living in alignment with your values. Success becomes when you achieve those milestones dedicated by, creating more life that resonates deeply with your purpose, your aspirations. When you redefine that perspective, you open that door to a more fulfilling, balanced existence. Carve out the time. Like, what are the moments in your life that you feel fulfilled, and start to look for those ways. Like, those are the rewarding points. Those are the moments that you should be looking towards the most. Write them down, and then look for the ways you can start implementing those or including those as a part of your own experience. Like, as you document that, like, what challenges were there? What rewards have you seen as you go through these things? And look for the ways that it's benefited you in your own, personal success. When you look at that idea of, like, let's transform it, because it feels like it frees you from that weight of the external expectation. It shifts, where you're able to focus on what truly brings you joy. It helps you find peace, in the journey, rather than constantly chasing whatever the next thing is that you need to get to. It really does take your life from a checklist and a routine into accomplishments, that are a meaningful narrative of growth and connection and purpose. Because I'll tell you, when you awaken your inner flame, you embrace curiosity and passion and purpose, like, through those consistent, intentional practices, it will move you from this ordinary existence to extraordinary. Like, that's how you live extraordinary. It begins with shifting your perspective, and going through those things and awakening yourself to rekindle those passions. The principles we talked about, these are just a framework to help you get there. To help you create the moments and the movement towards a life with meaning and more impact. Start with just one. Pick one that resonates with you strongly and build upon it from there. Each step forward towards that extraordinary living creates more ripples and pushes you forward. Now, if you're ready to dive deeper into discovering and developing gifts and going down this path of fulfillment, then you're going to want to check out my book, once again, The Giver Method. I'll put the link in the description. It's on Amazon. It's that complete guide to unlocking your superpowers, creating more meaningful impact, and living a more fulfilled life. You can also go to thegivermethod.com, get on our newsletter, book me as a podcast guest or a stage speaker, or discover how we can support you in your journey. Now, if this video helped you, then give it a thumbs up, share it with the person that you know that needs it, leave a comment telling me which of these principles or ideas resonates with you, or how do you plan to implement it into your life so you can begin your path towards that extraordinary living. With that, I'll just say until next time, please keep growing, keep giving, and remember that there is an extraordinary life living for you. The life of your dreams, it begins by just awakening that inner flame that you have inside of you today. And so take those steps, take the actions, and go do that today, because the world's waiting for you to step into who it is that you're meant to be and is inviting you to be there. And so with that, have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in our next video. Have a good one.